Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Let's get open for business here. Let's wake up the football gods on this Fallout freaking Friday. Because, man, that game was a punch to the gut. Yeah, missed opportunities, problems, injuries, kicking. You know, Jim Morris summed it up.
Well, what happened was that second game, we got our ass kicked. In the second half, we just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. In the second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half. So I have that perspective. Horse. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. Coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in that second half. It sucked. It stunk.
Okay. That's about how I felt last night because we had mistakes. You know, but let's be clear. The team was not at its best. And the 28 called penalties last night was so bad. The defense... Well, when you keep getting call after call, when you start getting gun-shy about doing anything, the Cowboys' defense allowed 509 yards and got 116 yards worth of penalties. So only 3 defenses in the last 40 years have allowed that to happen. Ever. It was just bad. The thing about it is when you get that kind of penalties, when you get penalties on 3rd and long that end up giving you 30 yards, well, of course, that ends up giving you a whole lot more yardage. So it's kind of like with one comes the other. It's hard not to make yards when you get a lot of penalties going your way. And that's what happened yesterday. And it was just bad. You see the difference of having Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup ended up having a good second half and ended up helping us to get into that overtime. But there's mistakes and things that you have to start questioning. This is how one little thing can make the difference in the world. It didn't seem like much at the time. The Raiders take a 7-0 lead. We go down, we score, we get a touchdown, and we miss the extra point. It's just an extra point. It's okay. Cowboys win the highest scoring offenses in the NFL. No biggie. Had we made that extra point, that kick at the end of regulations would have been for the game winner. That missed extra point. Or we could go back through and we could think about where we did kick the extra point and decided, and that it's probably the right call to go for 2 when you're only 1 yard away. But we ended up trying to play cutesy games in the backfield and just taking too long to develop. Had we kept that 1 point on the board, we win the game. The things we need to win are all right there around us. It's a matter of getting them together. Sometimes when you have success, you get the attitude that everything I touch is going to work. And at some point, you find out that you outsmart yourself. I'm still trying to understand why we rotated offensive linemen. You do that with the defensive linemen to keep them fresh. But offensive linemen, it's different. You start to get used to tendencies on the defenses. You get used to the calls. And for us to start rotating guys that haven't really played that much makes no sense. There's no cohesion. getting too cute. This was Tom Landry deciding, I'm going to rotate Craig Morton and Roger Staubach per place. Didn't work. Found out the hard way. Throw that shit away. After last week having 2 weeks ago, defensive backfields that were, everybody was taking everything away, and a defense that was smothering people, this week, not so much. And this is the thing about the NFL, not for long. You can go from the penthouse to the outhouse just like that, as we just showed. Because we definitely went from the penthouse to the outhouse. But I'm going to say, hold your horses for a second. By no means is there a juggernaut team out there. As bad as it was last week against Kansas City, the game was still in doubt. We still had opportunities. As bad as this hurt on Thanksgiving at home, we still had chances with all of the penalties that were called without our top 2 wide receivers, with Zeke Elliott on one leg. The good news is we will get more people back. Instead of this being 4 days, we've got at least a week until we play next week against the Saints. And we're 7-4, still in lead in our division. And I will say that this time last year, a team was blown out 38-3 in November. 38-3. And they were 7-5. We lost in overtime to the Raiders, a team that was on a 3-game losing streak. I get that. It's had all kinds of drama. But at least we were in the game. And we're 7-4. That 7-5 team that had a rough November lost 38-3 to New Orleans and went on to win the Super Bowl. I know we got a whole lot of people that are jumping off the bandwagon. Cowboys are frauds. I know I got a whole lot of new subscribers out there that are trolls. That Eagle fans are feeling themselves knowing that they've got the Giants this weekend and they're feeling good. We're going to get back into this. The Cowboys are doing their collapse and all that. And if you are one of those soft-ass, head for the exit at the first sign of trouble, fair-weather bandwagon fans, I have no problem with you leaving. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. I, for one, will be here supporting my Dallas Cowboys until the end. If you're not one of those diehards, okay, well, that's you do you, and I'm going to do me. Biggest guy in the spotlight right now is Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown, let's listen to what Anthony Brown had to say after last night.
Game in Cowboys history where Cowboys had this many penalty yards called against them. What's it like trying to get into a rhythm when there's that many flags? There's 28 total penalties today. What's it like to be a part of a game like that?
I mean, it's frustrating, but at the same time, we got to deal with it. So we got to try to fight through it, you know. The other team dealing with it too. They getting calls too, so we can't complain about that. We just got to keep fighting.
They give you a talking point for the final one in overtime. They say that you didn't have your head turned. Did they tell you what you did wrong?
Nah, they didn't say anything. I mean, we talk not to even talk to the officials really, but they're not gonna give us no real explanation like that anyway.
What do you make of the 4 PI calls against you? I don't think you've probably had a game like that before in your life.
Nah, I mean, it's just one of them days, you know. Just gotta watch the film, see what we can improve at with it, and get better. I mean, I feel like I was in position for all of them, and just try to turn my head. But some of them I did have my head turned. You just gotta get better. You just try to get better.
We talk to y'all all the time about having short memory at your position. In a game like this where there's 28 different flags, is it hard to kind of block that out?
I mean, as a DB, you definitely got to have short memory, you know, on to the next play. You know, we in it to the end, and unfortunately, that last penalty was crucial, and we just got to keep fighting, man. We can't control when the refs throwing the flags, and when they're not throwing flags, we can't try to argue with them because it's not going to change anything. So we just got to get back to the drawing board and improve and get ready for New Orleans.
What was your perspective on that the last PI call, just in terms of your leverage, your coverage, all that? Like, what was your perspective on that play?
But by that time, I wasn't even trying to put my hands on the guy, and I guess it was an underthrown ball. Receivers taught to jump back into the DB, so I got I really don't know. He grabbed the back of my helmet. I had my hands up, but I just got to turn my head, I guess, and just try to get my head around quick as possible.
So you had to change the way that you were playing normally just because you knew that if there was contact, it was probably going to be called against you?
Not necessarily change, because we want to stay aggressive. We want to stay at it, try to be on everything, be tight in our coverage. I just gotta improve the technique all the way through the play.
I get that you haven't had a chance to see the game back, but do you get a sense in a game like that maybe the quarterback is willing to throw balls up like that because he's getting calls?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. You see, almost every third down, after I got the first two, he just kept throwing it up on third down. So if he feel like it's going to be easy to get a call, he going to keep doing it. So like I said, man, it was just one of them days, and I just got to improve on it and get better at it, man. Can't dwell on it. It's over. I got to move on.
Even though we're not allowed in the locker room, we know how you're regarded in there, the respect that you've commanded for your teammates for a really long time, including this season. What kind of feedback did the guys get you? It's very clear they have your back. We were just talking to J-Ron, and he intimated that. What's the feedback you get from the guys during a game or after a game like that?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Everybody's telling me they got my back. Just keep working. Keep your head up, and we going on to the next. Those penalties. It was a lot of penalties, but it was a lot of other plays also that we could have, did something to not even be in a position. So we got a lot of work to do, and we just gonna get back to the drawing board and keep going.
You guys now have a chance after this short week. You're in the back end of it, so you have some time to get healthy as a team. You guys come back off injuries or COVID and the sort. How does this set up, or how important is this period ahead going into December with a lot of division games ahead to just put this period behind you guys and kind of reset going forward?
We just got to take it one day at a time at this moment. Just focus on New Orleans, try to see what we got to do to get that dub by any means necessary, and go on from there, man. One game at a time.
One game at a time. And that's the truth. That's all you can do. At this point, that's all you can do is focus in on one game at a time. At least the Dallas Cowboys are set to start getting players back from injury. The good news was Tyron Smith seems to be okay. We didn't hear anything negative about him. He'll get stronger going into next Thursday night's game. We have to, though, we need to settle on an offensive line and say this is it. If it's going to be Lyle, let it be Lyle. If it's going to be Terrence Steele, let it be Terrence Steele. Stop with the stupid candy-ass games of, we don't really know. We're afraid to commit. Say, look, you are the guy, and I expect to see this out of you. But until we get that part situated, I don't know where we go. And Zeke Elliott is definitely hurting a lot worse than we think, because Zeke, the last few weeks, you can see he has not had that burst. He has not had that oomph that he usually has. We've seen his knee literally bent and twisted in all different kinds of ways. He is a warrior. He will not stay out. But at some point you got to look at it and say, you need to get him out because he needs the rest for the long haul. Now, again, get CeeDee Lamb back next week and Amari Cooper. Things are going to look a lot different than they do right now. So we've got a lot of work here to digest this game and so on. And the thing, I don't have a problem losing when you legitimately get beat. And I'm going to give all credit to the Raiders, because the Raiders, they were able to figure out our blitz. They were able to figure out that, hey, the officials are calling this game this way. Take advantage of it, and they did. But I hate when you look at this and it's the officials that are getting you out of rhythm, that are just making call after call that just don't make any sense. At some point, you have to let the players play. And we have seen over and over and over again that the Dallas Cowboys get treated differently than everybody else. We know about the CeeDee Lamb fines for a shirt tail being out. I see every one of the Raiders without a shirt being tucked in there. You know, you see, it just is what it is. Well, we'll get through this, and hopefully we get better from it. I'm Mark Holmes, and, well, you know how we roll. It's time to roll.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the show for the Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, have fun!